Soul Demon Hunter is better than ever, and today I'm going to show you what the madness of the Darkmoon Faire brought to the stack archetype. Now the first card that I and many people noticed whenever we were talking about Soul Demon Hunter is Il'gynoth. Your lifesteal damages the enemy hero instead of healing you. Very good with Eldrazi Warblades in combination with all the attack buffs. And while that is in fact a good package, it turns out that the actual good things that came with the expansion is pretty much everything else that is now in this deck, which is the attack buffs, that is Relentless Pursuit and Still Stepper, sometimes, a bit more late game, as well as the payoff for having high attack, the Bladed Lady, which allows you to control the board far more effectively. Il'gynoth is a nice bonus, don't get me wrong, and he definitely helps you win games sometimes. That being said, I think you could run this deck without him. Speaking of cards that you can run this deck without, you might notice that I don't currently have a Kain in this deck, because A, I don't feel like he's absolutely necessary, and B, I don't have him, and as we always say, don't craft cards on the first couple of days of the expansion. So, this is the deck list that I'm currently running, and I think that this is pretty close to the best you're gonna get. Again, if you want to include Kain, maybe cut a Still Stepper out, but arguably this is relatively close to the best list known right now. Since this will still develop, I'm not gonna go all too in depth on how this gets played, but I'm gonna show off an example game or two and go over what makes this deck so good. We found our first opponent in a Warlock. Now there is multiple Warlock archetypes that are being tried out right now. I think Zoo is the most popular of those. I think I might keep a Soul Shear here. In case it is Zoo, then I'll have something to deal with some of the minions that come down early. But otherwise, the card you definitely want in your starting hand is Spirit Jailer. Twin Slice can be good for early trades, but is generally considered a bit awkward because you might also want that with the Eldrazi later on. Now, of course, nothing can go perfect usually, so there's always a little bit of wiggle room of what you can and cannot use for different things, and Flame Imp is definitely one of the minions that we would want to Soul Shear. Now, the question is, do we Soul Shear right now? Seems a bit wasteful on the coin. I'm actually going to use the Twin Slice here, trying to get a bit early board control, and then not rely as much on necessarily winning with one big chunk play later on, but rather just hitting him with a Marrow Slicer a couple of times, hopefully getting some Eldrazi Warblades, and just consistently pushing damage rather than just doing him in like one or two hits. Killing the Feldstalker here. Now, here is the case where we have a couple of 3-drops, but none of them seem particularly appealing. Well, as I just said, that I think I want to actually keep the Eldrazi Warblades still. I think I'm actually going to coin out the Marrow Slicer right now and just start hitting him a little bit. Warlock wants to use its health as a resource, so the less they have, the less room they have for their playstyle, so that's hopefully a good idea. And he plays an Amalgam. And another one. Interesting. Hero Power Blade Dance clears, which is really nice. I'm not gonna say no to that. Any advantages over taking one over the other. It is always worth considering how you treat your hand as a Demon Hunter, but no outcast cards on hand arguably means that it doesn't matter in which order I put them. Spirit Jailer for him. That's what we wanted on turn 1, but hey, you can't always do what you want. He seems to have a buff spell maybe in mind. Plays Demon Fire. I guess that's decent. Twisted Knowledge. I can't say I hate it. Still Stepper. Possible to allow us to kill. Honestly, I don't know if you care about killing him right now. I wanna almost go with the Eldrazi here, but that seems a bit too aggressive actually. You know what? I will play the Still Stepper. If I don't get anything, at least I get the card draw, and I will actually play the Mana Feeder, of course, and I will just hit him in the face for 4, because that Spirit Jailer is not a huge threat. Now it does trade very well into the Still Stepper, but I like producing the minion drawing a card and potentially dealing some damage, which I ended up doing. And he does in fact take that trade. Picks up a Soulfire. That's usually not something you like to do. So that's definitely interesting that he does that. He seems to be worried about his health maybe. And plays another minion for board presence. Is there a possible Blade Dance turn that clears? Yes, there is. I'll just use this. Hero Power Blade Dance. both dealing damage and clearing the board. It's a good combination. He's at 9 health. I still have potentially up to 8 attack on the hand, which means with Hero Power that would be lethal, of course. Not quite enough mana to do that, not to mention I would have to play the card of the Still Stepper, but we're getting really close here, and it seems that our game plan is executing pretty well despite not drawing any of those really flashy things. I think we're really seeing the 3 mana plus 4 attack things coming to play here, but otherwise nothing particularly huge. I think I'll play the Still Stepper, because if I can play the card and it is in fact a Twin Slice, or the second Eldrazi, I win. I feel like it's a good incentive to play it. Skull of Gul'dan. Not quite what I was looking for. I think I'll just go Spirit Jailer, second Slice, Hero Power, just hit him in the face for 3. Kind of bringing him that low that it really doesn't really matter that much what I do next turn, as long as I can push a little bit of damage. Eldrazi alone with the Hero Power is not quite enough if I draw a Twin Slice or a Marrow Slicer that is winning the game. Same goes for Il'gynoth. Turns out that he actually wins you more games by dealing that like 2 or 3 extra damage than by dealing 15 extra, but still a very solid card in this deck, I'm not gonna lie. And plays a Jumbo Imp. He's producing a big board but no taunt, so it's really not that worrying. Now, Eldrazi is probably one of the worst pickups we could have gotten here. I think we'll just, speaking of, we'll just equip the other ones. I will Soul Shear in there, I will hit the guy in, and I'll push 3 to the face. Could have put him 1 off lethal, but the chance that he has weapon tech, and I mean we even have the second weapon, right? He would have to heal and deal the 1 extra damage didn't matter as much as just preventing some potential out of nowhere shenanigans, though I don't really expect it from Morlock. And there is the Midway Maniac. That could be annoying. His Silverhand recruits having Divine Shield is probably not the biggest deal. Taunts are a bit annoying, that's where Kane comes into play normally. Maybe if you don't have Kane, consider running a Silence. I figured in this case, the Relentless Pursuit could serve as a way to deal with taunts, though of course, oftentimes not winning the same turn. Blade Dance is also a possibility. Now, there's a bit of an awkward situation because I could rely on the Chaos Strike, but I think Skull is more consistent, generally speaking. Soul Fragment is the worst thing you can draw off of it, but hey, that's just life sometimes. 2 Soul Fragments drawn off of it. Hey, the Mirror Slicer is for real. I need more card draw. I could go for the Mana Feeder, but then I don't have any mana left, so I'll just go for the Chaos Strike. Hero Power, just kill the thing for now, kill the taunt, you know. He has 17 attack on board, but I'm also at full health. Oh right, he does have a little bit of healing. I mean, not enough to matter at this point, but still, that's a thing. So, unless he can somehow procure 13 points of damage from hand, 1 mana, win the game. So, that's how this goes. I'm gonna show another match, but this just shows how this could go, even if it ran out of steam a little bit in the end. And we're facing a Druid. Let's see, Mulligan, well, that's all gonna go. You're really looking for something to play on the first 2 turns. So, especially without the coin, that was not very good. Soul Shear, depending on what kind of a Druid is, could be somewhat useful. The nice thing, of course, about Demon Hunter is that you always have the Trombone Hero Power. And speaking of Demon Hunters, another thing I want to mention, of course, Il'gynoth does lend itself to another archetype, which is the OTK. I prefer this deck by a long shot because it seems a lot more consistent, but if that's your cup of tea, go for it. Nature Studies doesn't actually tell me what kind of druid this is. That's one of the most ubiquitous cards in the class, so I have to see. Mirror Slicer is a good pickup, but not really something we can play that soon, so now that Hero Power goes to the face, and Breath of Dreams. So it seems like it's one of the slower archetypes. Mount Sellers shenanigans? I don't even know. at least get our 1-drop finally, and another hero power to the face. You know, that's just kind of our go-to move if we don't have anything else to do. Hero power from our opponent, and guess what? He's going face! Also, there's no name for our opponent once again because the last match failed to connect. I suppose it has something to do with it, I don't know. Yeah, hitting our opponent in the face. That's what we're gonna do for the time being. Don't really have any attack buffs, so Blade Lady... Well, actually, I have the Lapidary. Yeah, cost 5 mana though. So no cost reduction for the Bladed Lady quite yet, but Skull of Gul'dan is possibly good on 6. Teacher's Pet, so it is Guardian Animals. How likely is the Stilt Stepper to get us something that we can play this turn? Not that likely. I think I'm gonna actually Hero Power and Blade Dance here. Try to keep the damage going. And also potentially, yeah, have something to deal with this thing that works well. Yeah, you know, Soul Frame's going over your face, not being able to attack at that moment. But that allows us to keep the pressure going while also dealing with the board. He's not going to have a lot of huge boards, hopefully. So, yeah, maybe it was a bit aggressive there, but I think winning fast could potentially offset any harm that he could do with an extra Guardian Animals coming down. Ghidra and 2 mana buff, notably because the reduction does still, or is still being considered. 5 damage, that means Soulshard Lapidary does in fact kill it, or even better, oh no, wait, yeah, I mean, what I just said, right, Soulshard Lapidary does kill it. Bit awkward, of course, that I didn't have the mana to use the hero power and the Bladed Lady, but, you know, otherwise I could have put 5 to face. Also, of course, the healing kind of rough, but we'll get there. I thought for a second that it was more healing. I mean, this is also not great, but it also doesn't do much for him. Am I gonna actually play the lady from hand so I can skull next turn? Yes, I am. Still seems better than playing the Stilt guy and just hoping to get something playable. Overgrowth. So there might be something big coming up next turn, but that's not necessarily worrying right now. And Twilight Runner from hand. That tells you it's not going well for him. I'm gonna play the Skull right now. And that's a good reduction. That's... Wait, does it cost... I think the reduction is applied after, because if it gets Freezing Trapped, it still costs 3 afterwards. But I can't... Yeah, I can't... wait, actually, yeah, I can get above 6, so let's just go all out. How about it? See, it costs 0. Those are interactions you should be aware of, you know? Sometimes your life might depend on it. Not necessarily in this exact situation. It looks like we're beating him down decently well, so either he's gonna pull off a huge turn right now that is gonna somehow screw us over, or not. Which, you know, isn't that always the most fun way to end a game of Hearthstone? Kills the 5/5. Full mana after a spell, okay, fair enough. That is about the most use you're gonna get out of that. Alex? Oh, this is not DK. Innervate. Malagos. Darkmoon Faire? And... what? Oh, nothing! Isn't that something? Well, actually it's rather nothing, but... so if we hit our... one Blade Lady there, the other one there, blah blah blah, this, that, 5 damage to the face. Yeah, I could have dealt more, but... that is how you win against some of those weird situations. Again, they can look kind of close in the end, but... yeah, I won against an OTK that, quite frankly, looked a bit scary for a second there. I don't think I'm gonna show another third game, but the big takeaway here is that the new Soul Demon Hunter is looking really good, and the extra attack damage cards, and as well as the Blade Ladies to deal with the board more effectively, are a huge thing for Demon Hunter, and just sometimes Il'gynoth can give you a huge win where you maybe otherwise wouldn't have been able to get it. But otherwise, you know, leave a like, join the Discord server, subscribe to the channel, all of the good stuff. That's it.